The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Ladies and gentlemen, The Right Side with Doug Billings, Season 4, Episode 1. It's historical. You're here. You're part of it. Thanks for making the show possible. Thanks for heading over to DougBillings.us and subscribing voluntarily to the show. It's because of you we keep the show going. Hey, we'll give it to you for free. You get the show for free. But go over to DougBillings.us and subscribe. Thanks for doing it. Today on the program, the nightmare coming to an end. The number one reason why Trump will prevail. I'm going to tell you why he will prevail. All of that, plus my friend Clay Clark on the program today. Ladies and gentlemen, The Right Side with Doug Billings is upon you. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hey everybody, my name is General Mike Flynn, and I'm here to do a big shout out for my great friend and one of the best in the business, Mr. Doug Billings. Right Side with Doug Billings, Right Side with Doug Billings. Doug is the future of the airwaves when it comes to independent broadcasters and podcasters. He is the new Rush Limbaugh. He's exactly what America needs right now, looking for honesty, looking for wisdom, looking for truth, looking for patriotism. Listen to Doug Billings at Right Side with Doug Billings. God bless you and God bless America, and thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are winning. We're winning, winning, winning. Welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. Are you ready?
We are not liberal snowflakes who melt away in the face of tragedy, adversity, and challenge. We are a covenant nation under God, and his divine providence is not dead and it's not gone. It is living within each and every one of you. And you will bring it to life in such a way that the world has never seen before. We never back down. We never give up. We march forward.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. Happy New Year. Beginning a new year here, and it is our anniversary. We began the show 4 years ago this month. Another year, and I'm reminded that you all have been an incredible blessing for me during this whole process. So many things have happened in the past 4 years. You look back, and this nightmare, the things that are going on, still you good people. It's because of you bestowing upon me what I can't call anything else except blessing in my life. To be able to talk with you, listen to your comments, read your comments, and to be with you when you tune in and listen and watch the show. So thank you for the past 3 years of support, both in prayer and sharing with me your time and your treasure, your talents, wherever we've met, whether you're emailing me, whether you meet me at an event, whether you follow me on social media, subscribe to the program, or you donate it. I just want to say thanks. Season 4, Episode 1. Here we are. And something else. Back in the days when I was in the seminary, an old Benedictine monk taught me about the foundations and the principles of the meaning of life. And of course, obviously, finding God, Jesus, in your life is primary, the meaning of life. But during that lecture, I learned that the meaning of life is also partly entering into the lives of other people to continually make differences for the better. To enter into the lives of other people to continually make differences for the better. And I want to tell you with all sincerity and from my heart, you who have supported me, who log on to DougBillings.us and you subscribe voluntarily to the show, $4, $5, $10 a month, whatever, you have entered into my life. And you've made a difference for the better. And I am better because of you. So thank you. I'm better because you inspire me to strive to do better, to be better on this program, to make the show better, to make my life better. I have a real sense here, and I've spoken about this in the past 3 years with you, a real sense that we are answering God's call here. On this set, in this spare bedroom of my house. In 2020, I was like many of you, wondering what hit us, with COVID and so forth, was thrust into chaos that all of that presented. Presidential election, so much more, right? And I, like many of you, I got that tap on the shoulder, the tap that I think many of you got, the tap on the shoulder from God. It was as if he was saying to me, hey, Doug, thanks for everything that you've done. You've done well, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But I need you to change directions. I need you over here to do this work. And for me, this work meant this show. I mean, I can't explain it with words necessarily, but other than to say I felt a distinct calling to start this show, to speak the truth because the truth was being denied you, to speak the truth about the state of play in America and the world for that matter. And as you know, in the last 4 years, the state of play in America has been filled with purposeful chaos. It's been thrust upon us by the Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, and they've done it on purpose. On the one hand, God, I can get angry. I can get really angry about what they're doing to America. It makes me angry who people who are in charge, who control what's going on, the Susan Rices of the world, the Barack Obamas. It's not Biden, let's be honest. Those people who are really in control of what's going on, it makes me angry that they are so obviously anti-American and they're getting away with what they're doing. I mean, we only have to look just at what they're doing to prove this to be true. Whether it's the border, whether it's energy, whether it's foreign relations, whether it's defunding law enforcement, whether it's crippling our media, whether it's the woke agenda, transgenderism, transhumanism, the attack on women and women's sports, the loss of American influence and credibility in the world, crashing the economy, and destroying traditional American godly values, eliminating God from society. Those are all part and parcel of the platform, the politics, and the policies of the Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. And there's so much more that they do. I mean, let me tell you, nobody who claims to love America would ever take part in or allow any of those things that I just mentioned to happen. No one who claims to believe in and support American exceptionalism, the United States Constitution, our founding documents, would ever take part in or allow those things to happen. No one who claims to believe in and support our American founding fathers and their great experiment in this republic would ever take part in or allow those things to happen. No one who claims to believe in God would ever take part in or allow those things to happen. And despite all of that, today, the first day of season 4 and episode 1, my spirits are lifted. My expectations are hopeful. I owe it to you for this. I owe it to the listeners and the supporters of this program for my faith, for my hopeful expectations, because I see it in you when I meet you. I see it and I hear it when I read your emails. I see it in the enthusiasm and the passion that you put forth. I see it when I see and read the framers and their works, not just their public ones, but their private journals and so forth. I see it in you, ladies and gentlemen. Traditional American values are not dead and gone. America herself is not on her deathbed. We are in a nightmare, I grant you that. But the good news is that everybody wakes up from nightmares. I see you, and I see hope within you, and I see the exceptionalism that is America within you because of this program. And I'm blessed every day that you consciously choose to listen to me. So please know that my repayment, although I can never completely repay you for what you've done, is to give back to you with regards to what I do on this program, how I approach it, and how I continue to do it. You know, I've met untold hundreds, probably thousands by now of you on the road at various events where I've been a speaker, primarily the Clay Clark Reawaken America tour. We'll have Clay on the show here in just a few moments. But I've met you at my own events as well, the Determined Patriotism Conference. And we are going to take the Determined Patriotism Tour, we're going to call it now, the Determined Patriotism Tour on the road in 2024. And I encourage you to keep your eyes and ears open about all of that, primarily over at dougbillings.us. I'm heading to Orlando in a couple of weeks for a strategy session about 2024 and about the Determined Patriotism Tour and where we're going to be going. So details on that to follow. But it's going to be coming to hopefully a city near you. We're going to try to hit all of the battleground states and some others in 2024. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's just been an honor these last 3 years to be with you. For myself, for my two sons, if you listen to the show, I mention them from time to time, Grant and Michael. Grant is approaching 30 years of age. Hard for me to believe that. He's off doing his own thing in life. He's newly engaged, going to be married in April. And then Michael, who just turned 21 this past September. Many of you got to meet Michael. He comes with me on almost every tour stop that I make. And so Michael has what I have, the divine chromosome, right? The extra 21st chromosome, Down syndrome, right? And so we had a good Thanksgiving, a good Christmas. I hope you did as well. We certainly remembered all of you in our family gatherings and our prayers around the table. I have a next door in my house here. I have another spare bedroom I've converted into a prayer chapel, and you are all remembered there, and so forth. One of the things that happened with Michael over the holiday was that he was diagnosed, unfortunately, with Crohn's disease. So Michael, a fun-loving kid, high-functioning young man, the epitome of happiness and finding joy in the simple. He has an excellent doctor, an excellent physician. We have every reason to believe that this condition is going to be managed appropriately, and Michael's quality of life will continue to be fine, just as good as it's always been. But still, it's Crohn's disease, and it's something that will not ever go away, barring a miracle, for which we are praying. And it also means medical bills and expenses and so forth. If I were still in corporate America and had not answered that tap on the shoulder, right, from God, I would have had very little to fear with regards to being able to afford such things and to take care of it. But now in this endeavor, although I have no doubt this is a call from God, this is really not what you see here. Despite what you may think, this is not a financial boom here. No one's getting rich here. In fact, I know, again, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, knowing what it like. I haven't done that since I was 22. But we're on a mission, and we're not going to stop the mission. I have, for Michael's sake, created a Give, Send, Go account for him to help pay for what he's going to be facing. GiveSendGo.com/Michael Billings. If you feel so motivated to go over there and help, any consideration would be appreciated. And prayer, most importantly. So God bless you all. I wanted to share just a little bit about my past few weeks, about what's been going on here. We're now beginning season 4. Here you are, episode 1 of season 4, and we're looking forward to what this new year is going to bring. You're going to see changes in the format as well. I'm going to talk about that in detail a little bit later, but you're going to notice some not just aesthetic changes, but you're going to notice formatting changes as well. And I think it's all going to be absolutely exciting and continue to deliver the message of truth, and also to teach and inspire and educate people how to save the republic. President Trump and this upcoming election are one thing, right? That's one, but that's not the only thing. We're here to get Trump elected, yes, but we want to go beyond that. We want to go beyond what this election brings us and continue to do what the great one, Rush Limbaugh, did, to be that voice of reason in the chaos. And we hope that, and many people have been kind enough to compare us, and I'll be the first to say, never, ever will there be another Rush Limbaugh, not even close. But we will continue to do what he did, and we will hopefully make ourselves worthy to carry the torch for Rush in that endeavor. So here we go. Season 4, episode 1. And as I look at the new year, we have a lot of gifts. We have a lot of blessings. We spend some time talking about the darkness, but we have a pack of blessings on our back, ladies and gentlemen, and so do you. And America has been given a great gift by Joe Biden. His entire administration, in fact, giving us a great, great gift. This extreme liberal government that has cascaded down upon us purposeful chaos, millions of people being fed up, have become fed up with it. I'm not talking about the national debt. I'm not talking about, the economy. I am talking about what is and what will be the number one issue in America as far as what determines who people will vote for. That issue is the border issue. The illegal immigrants coming across this nation, into this nation. This crisis is blowing. We are under attack. We are being infiltrated. That goes without saying. But as in every challenge, every adversity, and every tragedy that strikes us, there is blessing there waiting to be born. And the blessing for us is that millions upon millions of people are now seeing the border for what it is. The number one issue facing us in America today, this tragedy, this crisis and adversity at our southern border. And although I could point to you, and I often have in many directions, as far as the chaos that's been purposefully thrust upon us by the radical left, it is this border issue that is driving millions of people away from the Democratic Party and to President Trump. I'm showing you now this clip. We have millions of people coming across the border, millions of them. And we have the demographic of adult military-aged men coming in here. And it's just one example. This clip right here that you're watching, millions of people, thousands of people coming in up by way of Mexico. Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador. Nobody's stopping these people anymore. There's no initiative for them to stop them. It's all up to the Border Patrol on our side, and they are overrun, ladies and gentlemen. They are overrun. This is, and it represents, a purposeful attack on us by the Biden regime. And this attack on America, where no bullet is being fired, no weapon being detonated, I get it, but whose purpose is to destroy America in multiple ways. These illegals, these people coming across, diluting and erasing our American identity, creating a new base of electoral voters for the Commune Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. That's what is happening. I used to chuckle to myself when I saw Governor Greg Abbott down in Texas busing hundreds and hundreds of migrants up to the blue states, sanctuary states, right? Here, you take them. You wanted them, you can have them. I used to get kind of a laugh out of all that. But you know what? I'm not laughing anymore. I think, in fact, that Governor Abbott is actually making things worse when he buses people to different parts of the country. We know that one of the reasons they're inviting everybody to come over is because they want to dilute our national identity. And when Governor Abbott sends these people out to all four corners of the republic, he's doing just that. He's helping to dilute our American national identity. And so I want him to stop. Governor Abbott, stop. Don't be busing, or whatever other governors are busing people, these illegals, out. Stop it. Governor Abbott and all of your sheriffs down in Texas have incredible constitutional powers that are granted to you. Use them. Use them to shut the border now. Will you be sued by our current Department of Justice? Maybe, but shut the border anyway. We've got to begin to push back, folks, and Governor Abbott should be doing that. Executive orders, constitutional powers, along with the sheriffs. Shut it down. Sheriffs have vast amounts of constitutional powers that are granted to them, yet so few of these sheriffs actually use their powers. Some do, don't get me wrong, and they are heroes, but many of them do not. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the radical left leadership in America, the ones who are really running the show, Susan Rice, Barack Obama, that whole crew, they view borders as racist. These people, Biden, Obama, right? The whole lot of them. They're globalists. And some of the Republicans, the rhinos, they are too. The word borders doesn't exist. Look, the amount of intellectual immaturity that comes out of that camp is astonishing. They're actually claiming that borders are bad for national security. I'm not kidding. You can't make this stuff up. Take a look. The Washington Post, this headline: borders are bad for national security. I mean, this story just came out a couple of days ago, folks, from the files of You Can't Make It Up. I'm telling you, it's Trump derangement syndrome. The Epstein files are out. Look, a lot of people talking about the Epstein documents. I don't need to go. A lot of other people already talked. I'll just say this. Trump was on the Epstein jet once because Trump's jet broke down, was in service. And the flight was from Palm Beach to New York City. Epstein offered him a ride up to New York, and that's where they went. One time, Trump was on that plane. Never, not once, did Trump go to Pedo Island, to Epstein's pedophile island. Not one time. Meanwhile, President Clinton went to that island 27 times. All of this, all of that misdirection, all of those lies coming back to haunt and roost on this commune socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. And they're losing the election because of it. And they're losing members. One of the largest demographics of voters going to the Republican camp: Black men, Hispanic voters, people who have immigrated the legal way, all in Trump's camp. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be right back. My good friend Clay Clark coming up next. Season 4, Episode 1 of The Right Side with Doug Billings. Stay with me. God bless you. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that you could change the trajectory of your aging process? Look and feel better, live younger, be more active, less pain when you move around, sleep better, diminish the lines and the wrinkles on your face? Really? This is what I'm telling you. It's possible. You see, low stem cell activity happens when we get older. And it could be causing many of the health problems that some people have in the world today. Because as we get older, we have less stem cell activity, which means we age faster and we heal slower. The secret is a clinically proven and patented phototherapy non-transdermal patch, whose technology is the result of over 90 clinical studies and over 20 years of research. Your healthier life can begin today, and you can discover true age reversal. Age reversal, ladies and gentlemen. Please go to liveyounger.doug.us. liveyounger.doug.us, ladies and gentlemen. Get over there today. Or if you'd like, text my name, Doug, to 41372. Doug, text it, 41372. And get over to liveyounger.doug.us. Get younger, feel younger. I'm doing it. I'm wearing this patch. I feel great. And so will you. God bless you, ladies and gentlemen. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. All right. A couple of days ago, I had a chance to speak with Clay Clark. Clay is the founder, among other things, of the Reawaken America Tour. You can get information about that at timetofreeamerica.com. Head over to the website, timetofreeamerica.com, and learn all about what the Reawaken America Tour is. They're doing their very last tour stop in June, and that will be it. The curtain will come down on the tour. It'll be in Detroit, June 7th and 8th. Go to timetofreeamerica.com to get information. And a reminder, I will also be taking my Determined Patriotism tour on the road this year in 2024. Details coming to you soon. Make sure that you go to dougbillings.us on a daily basis to watch the show, to read the latest news articles over there, and to subscribe to the program at dougbillings.us. So Clay Clark is a thorough and extensive researcher, digs up stuff that no one else does, and he relays the messages on to us. He is a patriot, a Christian, and a husband and father. From Tulsa, Oklahoma, my good friend. Here he is, Clay Clark. Okay, well, here he is, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Clay Clark on the program. Hey, Clay, Happy New Year.
Hey, you too, man. Happy New Year to you. I can tell you this. I love chopping wood. I something about chopping wood makes me happy, and I have been chopping some serious amounts of wood over the last 24 to 48 hours, just chopping wood late night, chopping wood in the morning. And it's just been a great wood chopping time. So I'm Doug, I'm in rare form right now. I'm excited to talk to you. I love chopping wood.
And let's cue up the Monty Python group. I'm just a lumberjack and I don't care. Here we go.
Well, I really do. I love doing it, and it's a fun story. But
are you clearing land on your property?
No, the thing is, Doug, is my son, we have rules in the Clark house, and we'll just be kind of vague, but he has certain things he has to do, and he did not do certain things. So he owes me 800 hours of what I would call lumberjack slavery. He owes me 800 hours, 800 hours. I'm not kidding. That's the number, 800 hours. And so my son, he says 800 hours. I'm like, oh yeah. He's like, that seems pretty tough. I'm like, no. It could have been 802. So he's out there, and we got the deal where we're chainsawing wood, we're splitting the wood, and we have a guy in town in Tulsa that removes trees from properties. And I got a hold of him, and I said, hey, do you ever have like massive amounts of wood that you need to dump off after you clear land, or you do trimming of easements? Do you even have any wood you have to pay to dump? And he said, oh, I have a ton of wood I have to pay to dump. I said, well, would you like to avoid the hauling fee and drop said wood off at my property? And he said, oh, yeah. So I'm not kidding. I've had 9 full semis of wood dropped off at my property. We are chopping wood nonstop. And it's incredible. And the next time you come to Tulsa, Jerusalem, you'll look and you'll go, wow, that's an impressive amount of wood.
Well, I got to come to. It sounds like you're burning a lot of real wood fires, which I love. How did you arrive at the 800 hours? What was the formula behind that one?
Well, it had to deal with, there's you know how it is. You and I grew up in a culture in America where we have laws and beliefs and biblical views, and there's just certain things that you do and certain things that you don't do. And the Bible tells us if he who spareth the rod hateth the child. And I don't want my son to grow up to be an idiot. He's 16 years old. He's doing a great job checking all the boxes. But I just saw that. I'm like, you know what? We need to nip this particular situation in the bud. And the only way we can do it is by teaching a really solid work ethic, because the work ethic is what drives people to success in life. And
I once upon a time, I used to have a lawn and landscaping company, and I couldn't get people like your son to pick up a shovel, much less push a mower. So I understand completely about work ethic.
There it is.
I mean, and it's something. I mean, you just travel the country. You and I were on your tour, the Reawaken America tour, and you go to these hotels or wherever, and they can't find help. I mean, it's a whole nother generation. These people, because of the laziness, which is a form of slavery that's instilled on them by this radical, as I call them, the Communist Socialist Party. And so I think that's great. Are you actually splitting the wood by hand, or do you have a splitter?
We have 2 splitters, Doug. We have 10 chainsaw chains.
Yeah.
We've got 2 chainsaws, 2 splitters, 9. I'm not kidding. 9 semis of wood have been dropped off, and it is enough wood. You've been to my office. It's enough to fill the entire 7,000 square foot office from the floor to the ceiling maybe 3 times. I mean, it is.
I love it.
Copious amounts of wood. So we're just chopping wood. And we're making great time. And so next time you come to Tulsa, Jerusalem, I just want you to know that right there is something I enjoy doing it for some reason, Doug. After a tough day of talking about, Yuval Noah Harari, the Great Reset, exposing bricks, all these things, something is satisfying about going home, looking at a stack of wood, and chopping that wood. And I am just I'm in great form right now. Great spirits.
I love it. I love it. Well, it's like Cool Hand Luke right there. It's just guys on the chain gang, chopping the wood. All right. Well, hey, all right. So from wood to the real world, what do you got for us? I mean, you're an observer of trends. You're an observer of fact. You're a researcher extraordinaire. What do you got for us as we?
Okay. Well, now back onto the non-fun stuff. Okay. So we've got this thing called bricks, You've been talking about it. I've been talking about it. Most people that are in the flow, in the know, have been talking about that Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they're all going to be working together, teaming up together to double in size effective January 1st of 2024. So Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they're going to be joined by Iran, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Ethiopia, Egypt. They're all teaming up to be, so it's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, plus it's the BRICS plus Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and they are moving away from the dollar.
Yeah.
And so now 6 out of the 10 largest oil producing countries in America are no longer using the US dollar to trade oil and gas. And so this is what we call de-dollarization. The best way I would encourage people to look at this, that's maybe a good analogy, is the United States in 1992, I believe it was, the Dream Team was assembled. Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, John Stockton, Magic Johnson, the best team of what some could say athletes or professional athletes ever assembled, and they went to go play versus the world. And they would win games by 41 points, 45 points. They would be up by 45 points at halftime, and the Dream Team would pull our top athletes and replace them with athletes that were still better than the world. And this was because America's supremacy, American dominance. It was just America was dominating. Well, at a certain point, America would go overseas. This is not post 1992 in recent years, and we would actually lose to the foreigners. We would send over our best NBA players, and we would lose in the Olympic competitions. We would lose games. People were going, I cannot believe that the U.S. basketball team is losing to these foreign countries. Well, that's kind of what's happening now with the dollar. We're now going. Our dollars, one of my good friends, Andrew Sorcini, he just got back from his tour he went to Tokyo, he went to Dubai, he went to Hong Kong, and he was saying that in the majority of the countries he's now traveling to, they will not accept the U.S. dollar as payment. And last year they were. So now you're not allowed to use a U.S. dollar to pay for things.
You're not allowed to use, you can exchange it, I would assume.
Right. So you go and you're like, hey, I want to. Back in the day, even like, let's say 3 years ago, okay? So you go into a hotel in Dubai and you wanted to buy something from the vending machine, or you wanted to buy a beverage at the bar or the restaurant or whatever, and you would go and they'd say the beverage is, $20 or the salad's $30 or whatever it is, and you would go give them cash.
Yeah.
Now they go, we don't use the U.S. dollar. We don't accept that. So you'll need to exchange that into our local currency. We no longer use that. And many countries are doing this at the same time. Iraq has made it illegal to use the U.S. dollar. So what you're saying now this is what's wild. And I want people to write this down, look this up. I'm going to pull this up on my screen so I can see it. I encourage everyone to look this up. There's a wonderful broadcast that's done. The host is not a friend of mine. I don't know who she is. At some point, I'd love to meet her. It's called the Petrova Podcast, or Lena Petrova Podcast. She's on YouTube as of today. She has 222,000 subscribers. And she does a show where she just talks purely economics. There's no real conclusions that are drawn. There's no real agenda to it. It's just, here are the facts. And she is reporting, and many other, I would say, independent journalists that are credible are now reporting that Joe Biden is threatening to seize another $300 billion of assets from Russia and from Putin. And there are now between 20 and 40 additional countries that have indicated that if Washington seizes the additional $300 billion of Russian funds from the U.S. economy, they will immediately be joining BRICS in protest. So Joe Biden is about ready to create a free fall event, a domino event, a catalyst event where countries move away from the U.S. dollar simultaneously.
Sounds like some of the purposeful chaos that we've grown accustomed to. And I've got a wild hunch that this is no accident, and it continues to be purposeful on the Biden.
Yeah, you look at this. Joe Biden was the keynote speaker at the World Economic Forum in 2016. You know this. I know this. Most of your listeners know this. He was the keynote speaker at the World Economic Forum in 2016, where he talked about mastering the fourth industrial revolution. And the fourth industrial revolution is Klaus Schwab's vision to move us into a cashless society and into a transhumanism agenda. So that's step one they have, is to de-dollarize. Step two is people kind of joked about monkeypox, laughed about monkeypox, joked about white lung, laughed about white lung. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has been using those causes, those illnesses, those scamdemics, those pandemics, those illnesses, whatever you call them, to advance the removal of our sovereignty as it relates to our medical sovereignty. So now the international health regulations have been adjusted to the point that in the event of the next pandemic or outbreak or scamdemic, they will have the ability to essentially impose medical mandates on U.S. people, they being the World Health Organization. So you're seeing an attack on our health and our wealth. And then finally, you're seeing an attack on our everyday way of life. You're beginning to see that the Republicans who are in office right now, I would argue that the Republican Party, to quote Dan Bongino, hates Republicans. I would argue that the Republican Party, to quote Dan Bongino, I'm quoting Dan Bongino, is embarrassed by most conservatives. And they are showing that they'll say the Christianese, they'll say that the words we want to hear as Christians, but they're going to definitely approve additional surveillance, funding and spending on the American people. They're going to spend endlessly in Ukraine, they being the Republican Party. So that's what's going on right now. It's an attack on the American way of life through the surveillance state, an attack on our health through the advancement of the international health regulations, and an attack on our wealth through the destruction of the U.S. dollar.
What do you think? You hear, you mentioned Christianese and so forth, and people saying the things that we want to hear. We have a Speaker of the House now who certainly would seems to fall into that category. I saw a news clip about him saying that the number one priority facing America is our deficit. That's the number one threat to American national security that we're facing now. Before, I mean, it's typically I would go, yeah, probably so. But wait a minute, we've got this little thing called the border crisis going on. And I would beg to differ with our speaker that that's the most important thing. And not that, point A, and then point B, I want to come back to Putin. What do you think about the speaker and his comments of late?
Well, okay, the speaker, you might potentially have a better knowledge, or better, you might follow him with more intensity or more accuracy than I do. I can just say I don't really watch what people say. It's just outside of business, outside of the show, outside of just in every area of my life. I don't really listen to what people say. I tend to watch what I tend to be the guy that wants to watch the NFL game with the sound off. I tend to be the guy that wants to watch the football game, the basketball game with the sound off. I tend to want to not hear the motivational speakers. I'll give you an example. There is a guy in my life years and years ago who I met, who I thought was a pretty good guy. I didn't know what he was all involved in. Well, then years ago, somebody pulls me aside and says, "Did you know that this guy is like single-handedly funding such and such ministry?" And I had no idea. I had no idea. And he said, "Well, I just didn't know. I didn't know if you put him up to that, or because I knew we know each other. I didn't know if you told him to donate, but this guy is donating a ton of money to our ministry. This guy is just phenomenal." And, to this day, that guy never takes credit for all the donations. So we happen to go to some of the same, I'd say religious or Christian organizations and things. And I'll hear people all the time from the pulpit, the pastors will say, "I just want to thank the generosity of this congregation for supporting our yada, yada." And there's like one guy who I've been friends with for years who's supporting a lot of it, and he never takes credit. And then I happen to know, there's a particular person, and we know this person, who loves to take credit, who loves to get up and get on the mic and talk about how he just feels like God's really calling him to donate and get involved and support. And he donates the least. And I see this all the time. And so all I can say is I don't watch so much what people say or listen to what they say. I watch what they do. And I just know right now that our speaker is saying Christianese. It reminds me a lot of Mike Pence.
Oh,
Mike Pence knew how to make statements that Christians loved. Mike Pence, he knew how to do it. He would, anytime that he was being held accountable for something, or anytime that he was making a poor decision, he would always go, "Now, America, we need," and I apologize, I don't do a better Mike Pence. There's too much emotion to it, but it's like, "America, we need to come together right now for a time of prayer, because Lord," and he would kind of have a little vibrato in the voice, "because the Lord wants us to come together right now as Americans, not to divide, but to unite. And he and Mike Pence had this ability to, anytime he faced any pressure, he would call for prayer. And I watch it in Oklahoma a lot. Anytime a politician does a dumb thing or votes for an increase in taxes or openly violates what they said they would be doing on the campaign, they say, well, we've got to come together for prayer. And I think our speaker currently speaks a lot of Christianese, but I think he is, but I know he is approving spending to increase the police state in America, the surveillance state, and to increase the endless funding in Ukraine, and doing nothing to stop the border. Purposeful chaos. If you're out there today, I really do mean this, Doug. People say, well, what can I do? And I have, just three, calls to action for everybody. And I would just say there's three. One is, it's really important that you do something. Okay. So just commit today. You're going to do something. To quote General Flynn, local action makes a national impact. Do something specific. What can you do? Refuse to wear a mask at the workplace if they enforce it. Refuse to teach woke ideology if you're a teacher. Refuse to comply or America will die. That's thing number one. Thing number two is, we've got one final Reawaken America tour event coming up that I know of in June. And then many of what I would consider to be headliners, of which I am not one, they'll be joining President Trump on the Trump rallies. So the Trump rallies, a lot of these wonderful people are taking their own personal agenda aside, and they'll be going to Trump's rallies, where Trump will be doing 2 to 5 rallies a week. And many times he'll be going all over the country. And many of the wonderful speakers from the Reawaken America tour will be joining President Trump. So that's June 7th and 8th in Detroit, Michigan. You can always name your price for our events. That's timetofreeamerica.com, timetofreeamerica.com. And the third call to action I have for everybody today is stop listening to the mainstream media and start listening to the Right Side broadcast with Doug Billings. Start listening to podcasts that don't mislead you in order to placate advertisers. So let me just give an example. A lot of the mainstream media hosts that I've met over the years, they typically hop on the air knowing that they can't talk about big pharma because that's who pays them. They can't talk about the corruption of bailouts in corporate America because that's who pays them. They can't talk about the corruption of the big banks because that's who pays them. They can't talk about the corruption in the schools or the unions because that's who pays them. And so they basically talk about somewhat divisive political issues that really don't matter. But if you want to listen to shows that actually get into what matters, I would encourage you to subscribe to the Right Side broadcast with Doug Billings and keep listening on a daily basis, because I really do believe if you take local action, if you attend events like the Reawaken America tour, and if you listen to content like what you produce here at the Doug Billings Show, I really do believe that's the best thing you can do right now to save our country.
Thank you, Clay. Appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard him. It's can't believe I'm saying it. It's the last tour stop. The last the show is coming to an end. Detroit, Michigan, June 7th. Is that what you said? June 7th.
Yeah, it's June 7th and 8th. That's timetofreeamerica.com, Detroit, Michigan. And I've told Eric from the very beginning, since I first met him. I've told General Flynn. I've told anybody who asks. I'm happy to do the events, but the events are not what I'm. That's not my life purpose. My purpose is to reawaken America, to make sure that we have an educated electorate that goes out there and votes. Yes. And I really do, as I'm seeing what President Trump is doing and the kind of momentum he's generating, what's really exciting is that many of the speakers that have joined us on the tour, whether it be General Flynn or Eric Trump or Don Jr. or Laura Trump, they're going to be out there stumping for Trump. And that's where we need to put that energy right there. So I encourage everybody, but if you want to know what is going on in some of those deeper issues, you can go to Detroit, Michigan, June 7th and 8th. 70 speakers confirmed: Roseanne, Jim Brewer, Eric Trump, Kash Patel, Jen Flynn, Peter Navarro. It's going to be a blasty blast right there. That's timetofreeamerica.com.
Clay, listen, once, when this all began back in 2020, you and me and many, many others that we've met along the way got that tap on the shoulder, I think, from God, saying, hey, I need you over here now. Thanks very much for what you've been doing in your life, but now I need you over here. And I just want to tell you in the audience, I am blessed that tap on the shoulder has led me to meet you, your wife, Vanessa, your family. I've been to your house. To be in that circle of friends with you and others has been a real blessing. And I wanted to say that to you here in front of everybody. It's been just an incredible thing, a God thing, and there is a remnant out there, and we will see it rise.
Amen to that, Doug. Thank you for carving out time for me. And again, folks, if you haven't subscribed to the Right Side podcast with Doug Billings, you got to do it. One, because I can pronounce it if I really try the Right Side broadcast with Doug Billings. But you should subscribe. You really do. You should subscribe, because I'm telling you, I run into so many well-intentioned people that start their day by listening to Fox News, and they're so misled that it's hard for them to sort out what's true and what isn't. So I'd encourage people, stop listening to the mainstream media. And I really would encourage you to subscribe to the Right Side podcast with Doug Billings.
Clay, we will be in touch, my friend. God bless you. Happy New Year to you and Vanessa and the kids.
I'm going to go chop some wood.
Chop some wood, brother. All right. Thank you, Clay.
Bye.
Well, there it was, ladies and gentlemen, Clay Clark. Thank you very much, Clay, for joining us. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Again, season number 4 here, the close of season 4, episode 1. Thank you for being with us. DougBillings.us. Please head over there and subscribe so that we can continue another 4, another 8, another 20 years of producing and delivering the show for you. The show that helps create the most intellectually mature audience in all of podcast land. DougBillings.us. Voluntarily subscribe today. I'll see you again very soon. Believe it, ladies and gentlemen, for the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that you could change the trajectory of your aging process? Look and feel better, live younger, be more active, less pain when you move around, sleep better, diminish the lines and the wrinkles on your face? Really? This is what I'm telling you. It's possible. You see, low stem cell activity happens when we get older. And it could be causing many of the health problems that some people have in the world today. Because as we get older, we have less stem cell activity, which means we age faster and we heal slower. The secret is a clinically proven and patented phototherapy non-transdermal patch, whose technology is the result of over 90 clinical studies and over 20 years of research. Your healthier life can begin today, and you can discover true age reversal. Age reversal, ladies and gentlemen. Please go to liveyounger.with.doug.us. liveyounger.with.doug.us, ladies and gentlemen. Get over there today. Or if you'd like, text my name, Doug, to 41372. Doug, text it, 41372. And get over to liveyounger.with.doug.us. Get younger, feel younger. I'm doing it. I'm wearing this patch. I feel great. And so will you. God bless you, ladies and gentlemen. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.